Hey, how are you doing? It's been a bit, but welcome to the Rebel Ballerina Show. And I am your host, Lisa Loree, the Rebel Ballerina, which makes sense, right? So here we are. Can you believe we are now a week into 2026? I'm like, what? How did that happen? Anyway, here we are, right? And of course, at the beginning of the new year, there's, talk of resolutions and stuff like that. And I'm all for that. However, I don't know, a resolution, typically those things just don't stick somehow. So I thought instead of like making I'm going to make a resolution, I thought maybe it would be better to just really contemplate what you want from real life. Like, are you living your real life the way you really want it? I know, I like the word really. So, also, I cover a lot of this stuff in my ebook. And so here's an invitation again. It's free. And if you're a guy, I, don't worry, I'm not expecting you to become a fun, hot bitch mom. Okay, just saying. The point is, you can have a real life and live it the way you really want. And that's what I've discovered. That's what the ebook is about. It's a little synopsis of the big book that I'm writing, big book, the real book. I'm handwriting it, so it's taking a bit longer. But excuse me, it's also pretty cool to sit down with pen and paper and write stuff out. Um, and I have a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's just from memory, my experiences. There are things that I've gone back through journals and documented as I was going along during that time, which I'm really grateful I did. And here's something you might want to start journaling just because it's good to be able to go look back at facts, not just relying on memory. Oh, goody, I'm going to have a coughing fit. I was really hoping to do that live. So, if you excuse me for a moment, I will get a little sip of water and help push this off. Anyway, I was not living. I was existing. And that's a problem, because we're here to actually live, to create, to have fun, to have joy, and to share all of that with each other. None of us were wanting or intended to be here to be alone, to be isolated. We're just not designed that way. Human beings, and it's pretty well documented that we human beings are community people. We need each other. And that was the intent, was to share in each other's lives. But for people like me, I was conditioned to believe that my life wasn't supposed to be about me. It was to be in servitude of everyone else. And there's a difference between servitude for everyone else and being who you're supposed to be and sharing that with everyone else. There's a vast difference with that. One is a conditioning, and it starts way early, and through many different voices and through many different experiences. Now, I'm not talking about the times that your parent grabs you by the shirt and says, don't run out into the street when you're a little kid. That's not what I'm talking about. Yes, they thwarted what you wanted to do, but for good reason, because it could have killed you. And you want to make sure you don't do that kind of thing, right? So that is not what I'm talking about. But there's a whole host of ways that we start to get diminished. And if you're like me and you start taking on that fawn pattern, well, you learn real quick that in order to be safe, I have to do exactly as I'm told. Don't speak up. Don't buck the system. Don't try to put my own self, my own ideas, my own opinion, my own desires. Don't put those out there because you're going to get shut down. And typically, this starts so early that it's with people who it's like a catch-22. The people that are supposed to love you are the exact people doing this in some way. And it's not just parents. I'm not just ragging on parents or a parent, but it happens even through siblings. It happens through friends. It happens through organizations. It happens at school. I mean, we're bombarded by it. But here's the thing. It doesn't even have to be actual incidences. It could just also be perceived. Like, okay, a couple of examples. Last year at Christmas time, so meaning 2024, not the Christmas we just had. I was at the mall. I was in a store, Christmas shopping, as you do at Christmas time. And it was in December. So we're getting down to the time frame of, I don't think it was like 2 days before Christmas, but it was, somewhere in the middle. So I knew I needed to get some Christmas shopping done. I went to the mall and it was very festive and fun. And I'm standing in the store looking at actually, I was standing in line to pay. And suddenly I'm on the second story and I see a horde of people running. I start hearing some screaming and I'm just like kind of frozen. And of course, my perception is, oh, something's really wrong here and we're in danger. That was my perception. And the staff at this store rightfully gathered us, said, everybody needs to come back here. We were put into two different rooms, a storage room, a bathroom. Everyone had to remain quiet. We're locked in. They've got their walkie-talkies so they can hear what's going on. It was terrifying. We thought there was an active shooter. And of course, the same type of incident just happened again just recently, these last few weeks at our mall. Not the same way, but someone arrived at the mall armed and obviously chaos ensued and there was a perceived danger, rightfully so. In my case, we finally, after, it wasn't even really that long. I think we were stored away for, 5-10 minutes, somewhere in there. It really wasn't that long, but it felt like really, really, really long. And it turns out that there were some bonehead kids popping balloons in the food court, and it sounded like gunfire. And they were running around screaming and creating this scenario. Okay, so the reason I bring this up is because I had a perception that I was going to die that day, or there was a possibility of it. That was a perception, even though that wasn't the reality. There was another time that I was coming home on a flight and going to land in Ontario. And we had severe winds that day. So much so that we were already at 60 knot winds, but this pilot was like, just gonna land this plane. And so we made a go around and then made an attempt. And I kid you not, and I have flown a lot. I have traveled a lot. Not like every day or every year, but since I was a kid, I've traveled. And as an adult, I've traveled. I have traveled internationally big time. So I'm familiar with airplanes. And this was the day that I was like, oh, this is it. This is it. That plane was going and through the air. I mean, it was like, and it wasn't just me. We were all looking at each other like, oh my God, we're going to die. We're going to go down. This is it. Again, perception. We didn't, obviously, I'm here. But the pilot had to actually pull out of that attempt, circled a couple of times, and then we ended up diverting to San Diego because it was just too dangerous to try to actually land. But the perception at the time was, I am in danger. That's what I'm talking about. Even if what you're being told isn't an intention to shut you down, as a small child, you're perceiving it. And that's what matters, because that's what starts you on this path of, excuse me, well, there are several paths you can take. I just chose the fawn path, because I truly believe that every person comes here to planet Earth good. And we have joy and love and a dream and something inside of us that's going to we're going to create something and share it with the world. That's how it's supposed to be anyway. And I believe that we are here imbued with goodness to begin with. And some people choose against that goodness and take a path of being a fighter to the extent that they become narcissists. And then you have people like me who take that goodness and then exaggerate it and turn it into a mechanism instead of just goodness. So my whole thing isn't to become a rebel fawn, to rebel against the conditioning because I'm saying it's not good to be good. No, it's good to be good. we need givers. We need empathetic people. We need people to be kind and understanding and wanting to just be a part of humanity and enjoy being part of humanity and enjoying each other. Like, for instance, my boyfriend and I, Jimmy and I, we love to go to bars or restaurants, and instead of being in a booth somewhere, we'd like to sit at the counter or at the bar and chat with the people who are around us, whether it's the server or literal other patrons around us. And it's so much fun to just be able to relax and be human, that kind of thing with no agenda. Whereas the takers and manipulators and the exploiters, there's an agenda, and they're always looking for, who can I walk over next? And we can perceive that too. And we know when we're real young, if someone's not really on our side, And there is no one on this planet who has not experienced something along those lines. You were either teased at school or it definitely was a parent or both, or a sibling, or just society at large. You get these ideas that you're not good enough being you, and your ideas are stupid, and they'll never come to anything. That's dumb. Or you'll never succeed with that. You may have heard things like that. And that's just, it is wrong. We shouldn't shut people down like that, especially kids. But there's a perception in there too. And us fawn types gravitate to that perception and decide that we are unworthy, we're not enough to have our voices heard, or that it's not safe to have our voices heard. It's not safe to speak up. Now, when I was tucked away in a storage room, that was not a good time to speak up. Because if some perpetrator was actually there, you don't want to make a sound, right? But that's not the kind of danger that we're in when we're kids. However, we know when someone's not really on our side. There is intuition. We are born with a lot of intuition, and it just gets smushed out of us as we go. Mainly by, guess who? Those who want to control us, those who want to shut us down so that they control us. There you go. So there are 4 different basic patterns. Fight, and those who take that to the extreme are your narcissistic type people. You have flight, who like to just get out. I don't want to deal with anything. You have freeze, who just kind of like pull into themselves and totally withdraw. And then you have us fawns. And we are the ones that will acquiesce, will give, will say yes to everything, to people please and all of that. And it's not necessarily out of just being good anymore. It's out of protection, the perceived need to protect ourselves and to be accepted, to not be neglected, abandoned. And that's where those things come in. So the real issue here isn't giving up being good. Heck no, we need good. It's, where is that coming from? Am I being nice? Am I being good? Am I giving? Am I compromising? Am I acquiescing out of the generosity that I feel in the moment? Or am I doing that because I have a perceived fear somehow? That's where the fawn pattern comes in and becomes a detriment to our lives. And we don't normally know this. Well, heck, we don't normally know this at all. I just happened upon this when I was 50 years old already. I had no idea what was going on with this whole thing. And I have a feeling that most people don't. And that's why I'm here, because I want to share this information. Because being stuck in that pattern kept me from having a real life, my life, and living how I really wanted. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm speaking out, because we got to understand what this conditioning is, and that it is exactly that. It's conditioning. And the ones who want us conditioned this way are the ones who want to exploit us and to control us and use our lives for their own benefit and their own jollies. And that's not what our individual lives are supposed to be. They're supposed to be individual so that we live them as we know we are supposed to. There's that intuition again. So that's what I'm talking about. Real life, your life, the way you really want it. So as we approach, well, we're already into 2026, a week already. How are you living your life? Are you going to let another year go by? Just going, well, I don't have the energy to fight. So I'm just going to say yes again to whatever someone asks of me, because I'm exhausted and I just don't want to deal with it, even though I know inside this is not right. And I'm tired of being manipulated, but if I speak up, there are going to be some consequences. You're right. There are going to be consequences. I hate to say it, but it's true. The question really that is, which consequences are you really willing to live through? The ones that keep you small and demeaned and controlled and not living to your fullest, who you are, what you should be doing? because those consequences can be real severe too. And I almost went through the fullness of that consequence. That's why my ebook is called From Almost Ending It All to Fun Hot Bitch Mom, because I was about to end it all. And that's the consequence that can happen. That's the fullness of that consequence. But there are lots of consequences leading up to that. You're just not happy. You have no peace. There's no joy. You're running around like a chicken without a head, trying to please everyone else. Those are consequences that you're living every day and exhausted from them, tired, wondering, is this really what life was supposed to be? Because this doesn't seem right. How come everybody else gets to have the life they want, but not me? Is something wrong with me? Did I do something wrong? Am I being punished? I used to believe that. I literally used to believe that. Everything changed when I realized, no, I created it. No, that was so hard to hear. I created exactly those consequences that I did not like, so much so that I was willing to literally leave this place, not move to another country or city. I wanted off this fucking planet. That's how deep I was in this. And then I discovered, through the help of others, but I discovered with this one man's statement, you created this. Oh man, I was pissed. I was so pissed, I wanted to punch him. It's like, there's no way on this planet anyone in their right mind would create this kind of life of despair and depression and how? Why would you say that? But the thing is, he was right. And it's this conditioning that is so largely hidden and unknown. That's what's creating this. So in order to create the life you really want, you have to know that what you've got right now, you did create by default because you didn't know, but you created it. That's where you are. The people around you, those are the ones you invited in. It's really disturbing when you think about it. At first, it's very disturbing. I was incensed. The good news is, though, if you have the capacity, because if you're a fawn, you have the capacity to self-reflect. You have the capacity to go, is that true? What in the hell did I do to deserve this? It's not that you deserved it in that punitive, like, sense of punishment. But it is in the sense that this is what you've invited in because of this conditioning. You bought the same lies that I did, saying, you're not worthy, you're stupid, you're not worth my time, don't take up this space, you're only worth me lording over you. That's what you're here for. You are here to serve me and all that I want of your life. It's that kind of stuff through different messages. I don't think it's very common that someone's actually going to come out and say that to you. I mean, there are some people who go through actual severe abuse where you are literally told as a child, you're not worthy. And that's just horrifying that there are parents who could actually say that. But we do receive the same message through behavior, through action, through neglect, or in that case, inaction. There are so many ways we get these messages and these voices that start to say these things to us, and then we take them on and put them in our own voice the farther we go. And that just plays and plays and plays and plays in the background. I call it the KLIE station, your playlist of lies that's on constantly. Sometimes you flick that volume way up on the days that you really hate yourself. and you give credibility to that KLIE list, KLIE, coming right at you over and over again to make you feel stupid, low, and ridiculous. And why are you even here? That's what the KLIE list is really getting at. And I took that literally. Why am I here? Why? Why bother? This is not how life is supposed to be. So I'm out. Thankfully, I didn't actually go through with that final consequence. I am very grateful. And I am particularly grateful, many levels, but especially because now, oh my word, now I get to live life the way I really want it. I do have my life now. But I had to go through a whole heaping load of discovery and changing. Oh, there we have it. I said it. It's the C word, the CH word. If you really want to have life and life the way you really want it, real life the way you really want it, you're gonna have to change. That's how it is. If you want to lose weight, do you have to make some changes? If you want to learn something new, do you have to make some changes? If you want to improve on something, do you have to make some changes? Or are you going to go with Einstein's definition of insanity, and that is to do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result? I did that. I guess you could say I was insane for quite a while because I was doing all the same fawn responses that I had learned and was conditioned to do, hoping that somehow this time it would make a difference. Somehow they would actually love me now. Somehow, if I'm good enough, I can have whatever, fill in the blank of whatever it is that you need. And then I'm talking about literal needs. We're not talking about, I want, millions of dollars. And I hope that by doing this, I'll get that. I'm talking about love, acceptance, cherishing, being able to be who you are and not have to freaking apologize for it. That's what I'm talking about. So this year, are you going to have a real life lived the way you really want it? Or are you going to stay where you are, how it is right now? It's a tough question. It's a tough question, I know. But both have consequences. The problem with the staying where you are, yes, you're familiar with those consequences and comfortable, so you're not willing to make that change, but they lead to drastic things. Maybe you don't feel like taking your own life, but perhaps it's the fact that your life isn't the fullness that it should be, and that does have effect on your kids and your community around you. It does. That's a consequence. Or you can go through what feels like consequences, and there are some going through these changes, but when you come out on the other side, those consequences, we don't think of them as consequences because we always associate, for some reason, consequences with something bad, something we don't want, right? Some end result that we're not happy with. But the consequences of making these changes are huge, super fun, joy, happiness, fun, Exhilaration, peace. Those are some great consequences. They're outcomes of doing something, right? That's what a consequence is, an outcome of doing something. So if you have the balls, gonads, ovaries, to actually grow some, which in my case, what I use that for is antlers, because we're talking about fawns here. If you want to start growing some antlers and have the life, the real life that you really want to live, then it's time. It's time. It's not a one thing, oh, I'm going to change this. That's why I'm not talking about a resolution. I'm talking about real life the way you really want it. So join me. Let's get into this. Be a rebel, because I will be delving into this in more and more detail as we go. Check out my ebook. It's free. Oh, it's remarkable. I couldn't have lived two very completely diabolically opposed lives in one lifetime, but I am. I am, because I used to live a life of shit, feeling like shit all the time, to a life of joy, happiness, fun, adventure, exhilaration, excitement, and actually being me and not having to apologize for it, and actually enjoying it. I want that for you. I really want that for you. So be a rebel. Be a rebel with me. Keep coming back right here to the Rebel Ballerina Show, Wednesdays at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. And in a couple of weeks, I'm actually going to have my first guest. I'm so excited. A real interview. So that's going to be super fun. And I'll be doing a lot more of that as we continue on as well. So have an awesome day. Check out my ebook, and please don't bother with a resolution. Live a real life the way you really want it. Join me and let's rebel.